I'm Bob Henderson. I'm the Nomad Dad. You know what? I'm a pragmatist. I'm for what works. There are a lot of things in society right now that don't work. I think there are a variety of reasons for that. Maybe I'll touch on a couple here in the next few moments. I look at three big issues in American society today. The economy is always, top of mind. I think inflation is a big issue, probably foremost right now. But there are two other big issues that I think are coming to the fore, and that would be crime, particularly in our big cities, rampant crime, and immigration. And lately, we've been seeing some of the big cities, the New Yorks, the Chicagos, and others. It was always easy to virtue signal and say, we'll be a sanctuary city until they descend en masse on you. And now they're screaming bloody murder. We can't afford it. We don't know where to put these people. They are getting in the way of our existing citizens. We can't provide the services, yada, yada, yada. And so it's really coming to the forefront right now. But I would like to suggest to you that at one point immigration did work. And by the way, I'm a huge proponent of immigration. The U.S. is a nation of immigrants. And today, I think we really do need a good deal of immigration. We've got all kinds of jobs that are going unfilled. One of the reasons things don't work is we can't hire enough people to do some of these jobs. Sometimes they're qualified people, sometimes they're not that we need, but we need some sort of a reasonable immigration system. And right now it's just totally ad hoc, it's totally out of control, and we'll see whether or not this becomes a huge political hot button. Well, immigration, as you're probably aware, there were two places in the United States in the olden days where it took place. Starting in the 1890s, for about 60 years, Ellis Island was a main port of entry in New York, by the Statue of Liberty, of course, and on the West Coast in San Francisco is called Angel Island. Well, Ellis Island sometimes became the Isle of Tears because not everybody that wanted to become an immigrant to the United States would get in. They would sit you down, they'd have a meeting, you had to show them documentation. First of all, you had to show them that you were in good health. And then maybe they'd ask you, well, what do you do? What can you do for the country? How can you help? I mean, are you a plumber, electrician, this, that, a meat cutter, you name it. And not everybody would get in. So there would be this conversation as to whether or not they would be a fit and a bonus to the country, and they had to be able to take care of themselves. Well, we've really gone away from that. You know probably somebody whose family came through Ellis Island. I remember growing up, there would be kids whose grandparents maybe, or I've not known anybody from Angel Island on the West Coast, but I was primarily grew up in the eastern part of the country, so it was Ellis Island people. And they put quotas on. Now, these were mostly European people, not always. And I'm not saying this should be European or they should be Central Americans or Africans or this or that. I'm saying, you know what? I'm for what works. If these people are talented, bring them in. And but let's not overdo it. Let's not over flood the system. We can't take care of too many people at one time. I think that's pragmatic, and I'm not sure that's the way a lot of people see it today. I'll probably be called all kinds of names, but look, I'm all for immigration. We need it today. We have so many jobs that have gone unfilled. Let me throw out one more concept. H-1B visas. These are specialty visas for people who might have a specialty. Maybe they're big time tech people or this or that, where they have an advanced knowledge. We need people like that to come here. I mean, big problem in the United States right now is our kids are not particularly doing well in things like science and math, and that's why these STEM programs, science and technology and engineering and math, are coming about in high schools, but that's just to play catch up. So we need to expand the H-1B visas. I see the Canadians are doing that. It's high time the United States starts doing this too. So immigration, a big part of who we are. We need to continue it in an orderly way. So let me just posit this. I hate to say this. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just a guy who's a pragmatist, and I'm for whatever works. I think there is a good chance that a lot of the reason that you're seeing crime in the cities today, and you're seeing prosecutors who won't prosecute crime, and anybody who might get arrested is back on the street in a couple of hours. You go to most major cities, and I've traveled around in the last couple of years. You go to the Chicagos, the New Yorks. It's not a pretty scene. I think a lot of this is being done on purpose. And I think the same thing with the immigration system, where they're over flooding the system in some of the cities. Now coming to, some of the blue cities, some of the big cities that, always claim to be sanctuary cities, but, now it's becoming kind of a NIMBY issue, not in my backyard. I think this is being done on purpose. Why? Well, I hate to say this, but I think that maybe they want people to just throw up their arms and say, I am tired of this. I'm not safe. This is disorderly. I just want a strong man to come in and fix it. And you get authoritarian government. You might get your problem fixed, but you're going to lose a lot of freedom. Now, I hope I'm wrong. We'll see in the next few years, but it could be trending that way. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a future video where I kind of see the trend going. So back to Nomad Capitalist really quickly. What's your plan B? If this sort of thing happens, do you have a plan B? You see the gathering storm clouds. What is your plan B for your money and your person? You're going to stay in your home country? Is your capital going to stay entirely in your home country? Something to consider. I'm Bob Henderson, sometimes coming unhinged. I'm the Nomad Dad.